Ladies and gentlemen, it's 6 o'clock-ish, a little half hour later for us, but welcome to you all. It's nice to see bright, new, shiny faces to the Cultural Commission. Lovely to have you here. We look forward to meeting and hearing from all of you. The public may provide public comment in advance of the meeting, a written submission, and you all know following email addresses, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with a roll call.
Chairperson Dineo.
Here.
Vice Chair Scott. Commissioner Leyva. Here. Commissioner Aboud. Here. Commissioner Jones. Here. Commissioner Mowers. Here. Commissioner Drysdale. Here. A quorum is present.
Thank you. As of now, the public is invited at this time to comment on and discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of this public body. Does anybody want to make any comments before we begin? Hearing and seeing none. First item is the approval of the minutes of March 15th, 2020. I'm going to hear from all of you. Any comments, any questions, a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes as presented.
There's a second. Anybody have any comments, changes, additions, etc.? Okay, we'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. This is easy. No, it isn't. Okay, the next thing is discussion only is the update regarding the Arts and Crafts Cultural Program activities since the last Carson City Cultural Commission meeting, which was held in March of 2022. Deborah Soul, will you please give us a report?
Thank you. Just an update on some of the activities that I've been involved in with the Arts and Culture Program over the past few weeks. First of all, the Great Western Steam Up. I'm sure you're aware that this is an event taking place on the 4th of July in Carson City. It's a major cultural event that is expected to draw large crowds and many out-of-town visitors. As of last week, we hear that there have been 1,600 tickets sold, most of which are from out-of-town visitors.
Nice.
So this will be the largest reunion of the existing Virginia and Truckee locomotives assembled in the last 75 years. So there's going to be over 10 operating steam locomotives being brought here to Carson City for this event. The event runs the entire weekend, the 1st until the 4th, at the Nevada State Railroad Museum. And in addition to the visiting locomotives and cars, there's going to be music and entertainment, food and merchandise vendors, other antique steam-powered vehicles, and lost arts demonstrations. So those crafts and maker activities that we don't see much of anymore, things like blacksmithing, those are all going to be showcased and brought to life at this event. The cultural maps, the project that I've been working on for quite a number of weeks now, I've completed the database now for that cultural asset map set. The database is being converted into a map by a GIS specialist from Michael Baker International. That's the consultant team that work with Carson City on the creation of GIS material. And it will then be embedded into the Visit Carson City website and made available for the city's website as well. So the database contains over 300 listings, categorized under 6 different categories, which include cultural organizations, cultural facilities, heritage sites and heritage properties, cultural economy businesses, arts and culture events and festivals, and public art. I've also been putting many hours into a draft public art policy. Both myself and many other city staff and departments have been involved in this. Any departments who will be playing a role in the acquisition, installation, and maintenance of public art. And that policy will be coming forward to the Cultural Commission on a future agenda. And that public art policy will be an incredibly important step in moving forward on major public art projects here in Carson City.
Do you have any guesstimate as to a date as to when that might be available?
So we pretty much have a draft ready. So it was a little too much to also have on this agenda. So I was going to ask at the end whether or not we wanted to do maybe a special meeting. If not, the next meeting's not till September. So
Yeah, I was going to ask that we could perhaps have a special meeting if that's agreeable to everybody, because I think we need to get that in place. Okay, thank you.
Okay. In the environmental art project, demonstration project, and the art on the trails project that I've been working on, unfortunately, there's been an unfortunate turn there. The environmental art demonstration project artwork was destroyed and the sign was pulled out of the ground and stolen. So this has led me to reconsider that project and how it should be undertaken in the future. And perhaps the environmental art component can be something separate from the Art on the Trails initiative. One of the suggestions is that perhaps we could try experimenting with environmental art in a more visible location where this sort of thing couldn't happen so easily. It was on the Carson River Trail.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But I am continuing to plan the first outdoor art experience, Art on the Trail. That work is progressing. There are art stations planned to be situated along selected locations on the Carson River Trail, which would include plein air painting, some gourd art, and I'm also working with the Great Basin artists through the Stewart Indian School, trying to encourage a workshop, possibly two, one on basket weaving on the trail, because the materials are readily available on that
Nice.
site, and also natural art would be another option there. So we're looking forward to at least 2 and possibly 4 art stations for that. And the Art on the Trails program is to include dinner and some music entertainment at Silver Saddle Ranch, which is right beside it there. So that should be an interesting day. The Mark Twain Days Festival, planning for that festival is continuing as well. The planning committee has been meeting on a regular basis, and a preliminary schedule of festival activities has been created. Some of the major activities that are being proposed at this point in time are a Twain train that is traveling between Carson City and Virginia City on the VNTL rail, featuring Mark Twain's favorite cocktails. And another activity is a Mark Twain and his wife Olivia lookalike contest, which is going to be a runway event that it will be judged. And there's also a hope that we can include a gala ball on the Saturday evening of the weekend festival. Location yet to be finalized, but that would be definitely a highlight of the festival. There's a Twain Path tour being planned to be led by Mary Bennett, featuring places that Samuel Clemens frequented in Carson City and the stories around those places. There's a number of literary performances and activities being planned leading up to and during the festival. There's a Mark Twain headliner performance that will feature McAvoy Lane, and there will also be era-appropriate vendors and performers and a whole host of other activities that are being planned for the weekend. So that's where we're at so far. And that's it for my update. Are there any questions?
Anybody? Very good. Well, you guys, you're busy. That's really wonderful. Well, moving right along, David will be very happy. Item number 6, these are action items. For possible action, discussion, and possible action regarding a recommendation to the Carson City Redevelopment Authority for the allocation of fiscal year 2023 redevelopment district arts and culture grant funding up to a total of $50,000 among any and or none of the following applicants. And you are all of you who have applied, you are listed here. And there's just a caveat that I would like to put it out there so everybody understands where we are. All of you have gotten the application, you've filled it out, you've met the deadlines, et cetera. And now we're here to talk about that. even though there's a grants total up to 50,000, doesn't mean that's totally what's going to get awarded. Grants of up to 10,000 are available at the discretion of the Cultural Commission, which we will vote tonight. It will then go to the Board of Supervisors for approval. Up to 5,000 for arts and culture projects or events that have previously received redevelopment, cultural development grant funding. This includes recurring projects or events of a similar nature, such as different theatrical productions by the same theater company each year. Grants for repeat events require a 50% cash match. And with each year, there will be less of an award, which will be explained later. But having now said all of that, would like very much to switch the order a little bit and ask David Bugley to come and make his presentation because he has to leave. So, with your, may I have my purse, please? I don't know why I left it there. It doesn't go with your shirt. Yeah, no, it does. Well, kind of. Well, I was talking to Deborah and I just left it. Thank you. Okay, good evening, David.
Good evening. I'm David Bugley. I'm the president of the Mile High Jazz Band Association. I'm also
Yeah, you need to put your mic on, please.
I pressed the button here. Okay. So I'm David Bugley. I'm the Mile High Jazz Band Association president and the leader of the Mile High Jazz Band. And Mile High Jazz Band was incorporated 22 years ago. We have quite a record here, I think, in the town. The Jazz and Beyond Music and Art Festival is essentially started in 2004 on a smaller scale and has grown since then. And these days now, it's these years, we usually present ourselves about 25 events and list another 25 or so events by other organizations, restaurants and things during our 17-day run, which will be August 5th through the 21st. We also incorporate the Open Studios Arts Tour. This is in the 4th year, and we're anticipating 21 artists this year presenting their art in their studios or in other locations such as the NAA Gallery, at the Bliss Mansion, Nevada State Museum. Most admissions to our events are free. We have no paid staff. We feel that this is something that is building community support, building the Carson City's reputation as a cultural hub and as an arts community. There's still a reserve of musical talent here from the casino days when there was a lot of entertainment, and we would like to see this continue. In past years, we've had as many as 50,000 people. This is not 50,000, 5,000 attendees in pre-pandemic years. We sort of need this funding because of these events being presented for free in the downtown area. We will use these funds for events within the area indicated for the RAC. We need it for our poster contest, T-shirt designs. But the other side of this is that the Americans for the Arts Economics Prosperity Calendar, which we use, often prove that we are a multiplier of benefits to the community in terms of financial resources. Boy, I'm out of time. Spaces. We use the McFadden Plaza, the Governor's Mansion, Silver Saddle Ranch, Nevada State Museum, the Capitol Amphitheater, the Brewery Arts Center, the Nevada Artists Association Gallery, the Bliss Mansion, the Carson City's Carriage House. We do our promotions through MailChimp, Galaxy Fandango ads, radio announcements, and we have a media list of 50 or so when we put out our press releases. The Open Studios Tour is going to be using about 12 locations. Several are going to be presenting music. And then we have, in terms of evaluations, we intend to do surveys to check on the effectiveness of our efforts. We currently use MailChimp to communicate with people who have shown interest in what we do. and and we can also use that to get some feedback, but we can also do it from handed out surveys at the concerts. So the budget for the festival as a whole is $25,000. We are asking for $5,000. $2,000 of that goes to musicians, mostly local musicians who are taxpayers. $2,000 for technicians, again, the same type of thing, and about $1,000 for marketing. So I think I've exceeded my time, but if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take a question.
Any questions?
I do have 3, I was 3-minute, right?
Yep.
Okay, I was checking. Yes, Karen.
Are you receiving the nonprofit discount for any of the venues, as in if you are using the Bob Boldrick Theater or some of the other venues around town?
We're not using the Bob Boldrick Theater for this because it's mostly an outdoor event, and I can't think of any places where we get discounts for this particular thing. Yeah.
Okay, I notice here it says 1,000 in donations. Do you encourage folks to step up and help you out? Because, I mean, when you have free concerts, you know.
Well,
somebody's gotta pay the
when we
bill.
have a bigger events, and of course, the last 2 years have been, a lot of things have been different, and we just did what we could to keep things going, doing some virtual events. Now that we're going back to live events, we're hoping we can do the pass the bucket or pass the basket type of things to do. We've been asked to pass the bucket at one of the Levitt concerts by the Brewery Arts Center. So we will be benefiting from that, and we get donations from various people, and fundraising is not my area of expertise, unfortunately.
But in this day and age, with the numbers of not-for-profits and all of the arts organizations and everybody needing help and needing funding, I mean, everybody's got to look at what sources are out there. Can you implement or work towards to try and help out is the whole point.
Yeah, I know. It's, this is not one event. This is not one day or one weekend and we're done. This is 17 days. It's 3 weekends. It's the days in between. And as I said, we're having 50 events. We're letting people know that culturally there are a lot of things that are happening. We have the artist, and that's not just music. This is the artwork. And art is business. Most of you will know that. So that's, I think, that's my argument on that.
Thank you for that, David. Anybody want to add anything? Yes.
For the record, Bethany Drysdale, you have 1,000 slotted for marketing. Can you talk a little bit about the marketing that you have planned?
Well, the marketing, some of the money goes into Galaxy ads, the Galaxy Fandango. Some of it goes into radio ads, KUNR, and some of it for the out-of-state areas, like the Capital Radio, which is the California series of. So I think that's where most of it's going to go. I'll have to talk to my financial expert over there, but she's looking at her phone. Am I about right on that? Okay, yeah, mostly that's where it goes.
Mostly for radio, for public radio, which.
Public radio.
Their listeners are the type of people who go to this.
Yeah, okay.
So that's Cap Radio, right? Out of California.
KUNR.
KUNR.
And they're very nice to us because they usually give us some extra ads because it's in their cultural interest that people would be involved. Yeah.
May I interrupt? I was looking at my phone because I had a message from Sharon Ross, and her organization is on the agenda, and she missed the notice. But she does plan to attend, but it'll take her.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll accommodate her.
Okay.
She can come at the end. Yes, just let her know to come as soon as she can.
Okay,
So, thank you, David.
okay.
We've heard that.
Can I just adding on to the marketing of it, I see addresses, email addresses and postcards and stuff. I'm just wondering if you've thought about social media and how that could be used to.
Oh, yeah,
promote
we
this
use
as well.
use that too.
You do?
We We have our website, we also, some people post on social media. I'm not personally, I don't do a lot of the social media posting, but others do. And, because I'm usually involved, and I don't have time to pick up a camera and post something. Yeah, so we use that, yeah.
So
But
this,
mostly Facebook, I think.
which makes sense. That's a good good platform for this because it's a great lineup and things that I think maybe younger or family audiences would want to know about and get into. And if other families are like mine, I throw away postcards and mail is hard to get through to sometimes, but social media would be a great way to convey what's going on and maybe reallocating some of the funding more toward that, or even an agency who might be able to help with just some basic posting and scheduling of posts would be great.
Okay.
Just share that with honor.
Deborah Soul here for the record. I just wanted to make a note on process. If the commissioners are happy with this, as each of the applicants is coming forward to do their presentation and answer questions, if you could finalize your scores under each of the categories for each application. When we reach the end of the applicants, I will be asking each of you to read out your scores for each of the applications, and I have a compiling list here. I'll be putting everyone's scores in, so it'll automatically total them. What I would like from each of you is your score for project planning, project management, artistic merit, implements the cultural plan, community impact, those scores. And if you could read those out at the end when we've completed hearing each of the applicants, that would be really helpful.
Wow.
Is there a discussion at the end of how much is awarded? So if it's requested 10,000, are we discussing at all what that breakdown might be?
I think that what we'll do is we'll put all the scores in and I'll total them, and then the floor will be open for the commissioners to discuss if you want to adjust any of the amounts or allocations. Okay.
So then now I have a question, because I just scored them, but I'm at the bottom of the sheet with my total for each one, not each section. That's what you did too, because that's what we've done in the past. If we need to now go back and each one of these sections award to that.
If you want me just to take your totals, I can adjust that on my sheet. That would be fine.
All right.
Okay.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you, David. Appreciate
Okay.
it very much.
Now, am I going to do the presentation about the Historical Society?
Oh, you're the one presenting for the
Yeah, I have,
historical?
I was notified last night that Sue Ballou was sick. So I was asked to prepare this too.
So number 5. Okay, there's a lot of requests here. It's number 5 according to this list across the top. So welcome to you with another hat on behalf of the Carson City Historical Society. This will be a first-time presentation to this Cultural Commission for assistance and funding. Take it away, David.
Okay, I'm David Bugley again, and I'm the current secretary of the Carson City Historical Society and a former vice president. I'm subbing for Sue Ballou, who's president, who happens to be sick. Little background, in 1968, the Thurman Roberts left his building to the state of Nevada for use of the children. The state did not want to deal with it, gave it to the city. The city was thinking about demolishing it. The Nevada Landmark Society was formed in 1969 as a 501c3 to fix the house, and they did, and brought it up to like what they would call a home museum status. And the Nevada Landmark Society became the Carson City Historical Society in 1999, and it's been in operation for 53 years, providing historical information to the community. They have events including notable women of Eagle Valley. They have tours of the Foreman Roberts House. They've done an exhibit. They have a current exhibit which is called "If These Gowns Could Talk." We're working on displays, or we've had displays on the Nevada Orphans Home or the Nevada Children's Home, and on the Leisure Hour Club. And we are working on 3 quarterly exhibits. One is from 1860 to 1900, Victorian Edwardian fashion and living. To be followed up for a 1910 to 1930 period on Edwardian and Roaring Twenties fashion and culture. And then a 1930s to 1945 Depression to World War II exhibit. Among some of the other things we're probably going to be working on is a continuation of the notable women exhibits. I think there's going to be a refresh of the children's home exhibit done part by Bonnie Nishikawa, who's behind me, who has written a very fine book on the children's home. There's going to be an evaluation of the former Roberts House, excuse me, not evaluation, evolution of the former Roberts House. And we have a special collection called the Sprague Meter Collection, which was given to us just this last year. Journals and pictures and sheet music reflecting people who were influential in the town in the early days, the 1860s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Events that they're working on are an open studio, during the open studio tour featuring one of the artists, having an ice cream social, being involved in the Mark Twain Days games, that's in the April of 2023, planning to do classes on genealogy, painting, and history, and doing a kind of renewal of our house tours. It's going to, around December, Christmas tours. The money that we're basically asking for is regarded as jumpstart funding, and we are asking, I think it's a total of $6,000 in the request, $1,500 for the 3 quarterly exhibits in the former Roberts House, $550 for exhibits in the carriage house, on the printing and matting work that has to be done. It's $800 for teas, $500, I think it's, I can't tell if this is $850 for December's tour, $600 to be used towards the Mark Twain Days events, including a barbershop quartet, which is interesting, contests and prizes, and entertainment for the Open Studios tour, money for an ice cream social, money for Chautauqua events, and for classes. And in terms of evaluation, we are starting to use MailChimp. We're starting to use MailChimp-based newsletters for communications with our members and with others. And we already use Google Forms when scheduling our Zoom lecture series, which we've been doing somewhat monthly. And these Zoom lecture series have been fairly popular. We've had over 300 unique attendees since early 2021 at the lectures online, which is kind of irrelevant to what we're doing right here, but we're involved in trying to bring the history of Carson City alive by actually showing people a house from 1870s. Although it was not built in Carson City, it is perhaps the oldest residential building in Carson City. It was moved to Carson City from Washoe City, old Washoe City.
That's the Roberts
The
house?
foreman, yeah,
The
some people, the
Foreman.
older people called Roberts House, and we did some research, and his foreman
Foreman
was
Roberts.
it was Solomon,
Okay.
you know,
For,
foreman was.
for folks here who might not know, can you tell them where is it?
Yeah.
And when is it open? So it's really a wonderful place to go and see for yourself.
Yeah, well, it's the small Victorian house. I think it's 2107 North Carson Street. It's between Corbett and Rice on Carson Street on the east side. And there are 2 yellow buildings. One is the Foreman Roberts House, the historical building, and then we have the carriage house, which has a bigger room for meetings and presentations, and that was built within the last 10 years. And so we use those different facilities for different things. And of course, being affected by the pandemic, we didn't have a lot of meetings and or tours. But we are open on Saturdays from 1 to 3. We're trying to expand those hours if we can get some more volunteers. That's just one of the things we have to work on. And we want to make sure our volunteers are trained and follow the correct scripts, as opposed to what I'm doing today, which is not the correct script. But, but that's the idea.
Do you have a membership?
We have membership. I'm not sure what the total numbers are. I'd have to ask Chris Pattison.
Okay, so people are donating to the Historical
Oh,
Society?
yes, we definitely have people donating. And we've had, I think we've had an increase in donations since we started the lecture series, and we've also attracted some new members because there's a diversity of topics, and when people request a link to the lecture series, we ask them, would you like to have an application form? And we send it to them, and we get some new applicants that way.
But I'm new to town. How would I find out about you? What kind of information where would I go to find out about you?
Well, the Carson City cchistorical.org is our URL, and we post our events there. And we have several people who post on Facebook. I'm not sure about other social media. I'd have to look to Travis to see over there. But we have that. So we also, and then many of our events are open to the public. So if we do a tea or something like that, people can find out about that, and they can take tours of the house, of the Foreman Roberts house, and see the exhibits in the carriage house.
So I guess it's the marketing, it's the PR, is it on Carson Now? How?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
So
every
that's
event that we've done
so
gets on Carson Now.
I'm trying to inform others who are sitting here.
No. This is, a matter of fact, Carson Now, with its reach is just amazing. I don't want to say this too loud, but it's going to be part of the record anyhow. When I do a survey and ask people where they've heard about the lecture series, it's 7-1 or 8-1 that people are hearing it from Carson Now as opposed to Nevada Appeal. I love the Nevada Appeal. I get it whenever I can. I haven't subscribed to it, but the real reach right now is Carson Now.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Any questions from anyone? Anything about the finances?
I do.
Stan Jones?
For the record, Stan Jones. It just appears to me that you're going to have to start collecting for tours, all your events, and I'm going to address also your Mile High Jazz. I think you're going to have to start charging for some of your events. You've got a lot of competition here for the money. The criteria is after so many years, you don't get you don't get the same equal consideration, if that's the way to put it. I just think all organizations are going to have to bite the bullet and start charging for their events, for their tours and whatever else.
Bethany?
I have a question about the budget. It looks like this is really entirely funded, potentially with this grant. Not a lot of matching or other funds in their sources. Why, or is there consideration of other areas to get some funding for this? And I know you said fundraising is not your bailiwick, but
no, it's not.
wondering if you can speak to it.
No, I find ways of spending the money, but no, I see. I don't, what? Ask my
Is your treasurer here? Is there someone who would like to comment on this
Mr.
particular
Nishikawa, would you like to
question?
He doesn't want to talk to you.
Oh,
No. No. So I really hadn't seen where the matching is coming from. And you're right. It's not much matching. So this is our first attempt at doing one of these RAC grants, so, and I didn't have any input on it, so.
yeah. And for that, the fact is, this is the very first time that the Historical Society has come to the Cultural Commission, and allowances get made in terms of, what you're prepared to provide. But you'll learn this time around, and thank you for doing that. It's a
Okay.
wonderful organization.
When I want to say one thing, we do charge for the teas, and that's been one of our sources of getting new members. So we do have membership, and we do have, and so we don't charge for every little event. I think at a certain point with events, you can nickel and dime people, and they stop coming. So that's where I'm wondering. I don't know where the tipping point is on that in terms of events. You can ask people for donations, and sometimes they can be very generous, and sometimes they just say, well, even if it's a donation, they just don't want to have to deal with that.
Yes, Susan?
Susan Mowers for the record. I think when it comes to increasing, if there needs to be, as Stan said, increasing some type of payment, you can weight it like for the Mark Twain Days, there's certain events that can be free, and there's certain that are more VIP or more. So that's how I think looking forward for everybody, you can start balancing, market your big ticket items and make them very special so that you do get the price that you need so that you can still offer the free events to a greater public.
Thank you. Stan, anybody?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Chris, anything, any questions? Okay. Thank you, David. Appreciate both of these efforts and these organizations. It was nice to have you with us. Okay, going back to the way you've originally listed these, the next would be the BAC and the rock and roll. Come on, Gina.
While she's coming up, can we have a moment to score? Sure. You want us to score after each one, right? Well, I would like you to fill it yours. Okay.
Yeah. Those are done. So number one is the rock and roll. Yay. Okay, Gina, anytime. I think everybody has scored, so we're ready.
Thank you. My name is Gina Lopez. I'm with the Brewery Arts Center. I'm the executive director. And we have submitted 2 grants this evening. One of them I will present. The other one, one of my board members will present. This is for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame exhibition. I realized that the application was a little vague because there are 2 exhibits we were looking at. We were going to get a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame exhibit until we found out the shipping costs that are happening right now. They are almost 10 times what they should be. So about $17,000 each way to get the exhibit here from Cleveland, Ohio. But I have since worked a deal with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that we're going to get it here. We're going to pay for one-way shipping, and we're just going to keep it here until somebody else wants it, and so we don't have to pay 2-way shipping. So this was the just recently come to. It's been a lot of negotiation back and forth, but it looks like we will get it on track July 15th, and this is going in the space that was formerly the Artisan Cafe. We just closed the Snoopy and the Red Baron exhibit, which was visited by over 1,000 people, highly successful, and this is the follow-up to that. And we really love our new space. In between right now, we have a local artist selling his work, and we had a grand opening, and he sold all but 3 of his pieces. So it's really been embraced by the public, and the new visual arts component for the Brewery Arts Center is something we're very proud of.
Okay. And Karen?
Gina, is there any local art component to this rock and roll exhibit at all?
Well, we're doing it in conjunction with the Levitt concert series. So with that same spirit, we are charging for admission for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But during the 2 hours before Levitt, we are not. It'll be free and open to the public. So along with the free and open concert, then people can come in and view the
I think my question was more geared towards, are there any other local artists that are a part of this exhibit?
No, it's
Okay.
contained, and it's coming from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay, thank you.
So is that what the exhibition rental means? The 5,000, is that what that is, paying for that?
Mm-hmm.
Stan?
So do you have matching funds to match the request?
We have more than matching funds to match the request. We are putting in our own funding to make up the difference. This is a new exhibition that we're charging an entrance fee for. So, we may fall short, but we do have the funds to support it at this time.
Okay.
So it's not free. There's going to be a
No.
charge.
There is going to be a charge except for the 2 hours before Levitt. So in the same spirit of Levitt being barrier-free, people could come into the exhibition barrier-free.
Okay. Okay. Susan, Chris, any comments? Any?
I have a question. Can you describe the exhibit? What kinds of things are in it? Is this, like Elvis's guitar, or what types of things are in the exhibit?
It's a very unique exhibit, and I think I addressed it in the questions, talking about the relevance of rock and roll in cultural society and how it went against the cultural norm at a time when segregation was the norm in the United States, and it talked about rebellion. And one of the other things for rebellion at that time were pinball machines. So this exhibition is pinball machines and rock and roll, and how the two meet. We're going to have Roger Daltrey's guitar paired with the Tommy pinball machine. We're going to have Peter Criss's drum set from Kiss paired with the Kiss's drum set. We're going to have Dolly Parton's dress and statue with the Dolly Parton exhibit. We're going to have Elvis, Guns N' Roses, and Elton John, and the Beatles as well, and artifacts from all of those, with all of those.
Gee, it's like high school. Well, it's really very comprehensive. Thank you for, bringing this to us, and we'll certainly take it from there. Okay, and next, you want to do the second one?
Hi, I'm Eric Parker. I am the BAC's one of 2 youth advisors. And today I have presented you the Youth Engagement Events and Activities project that me and my other advisor are currently working on. Right now, we are hoping to jumpstart at the 11 Amp concert series, a teen-specific area to target that more youth engagement with the concert series. We are planning to have the area a camp festival kind of feel or vibe to it, to have the comfortability for them to feel free to sit down, enjoy the music, or even we are planning for selfie areas in that area as well for them to, be able to post on social media, which will also help boost the advertisement for that specific area. We are also shooting for later in the year for open mic nights in the performance hall of the the lobby of the performance hall. Come September, September. We are also currently planning a Halloween themed rave in the Maisie Theater of the BAC, October 27th. And we are getting ready to hopefully start partnering with the Holland Project up in Reno for a concert series with them, hopefully by November to June of the upcoming years. So that is fun. And yeah.
Karen?
Just verifying match monies on this one.
Yeah, it's, I think we're asking for 45% of the actual budget. We're putting it's a total budget of 22,000.
That to be on the record. Thank you.
I'm sorry, do I need to say that again? I was off mic.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 45% of the entire budget. We're asking for 22,000.
How many youth do you think you're going to attract to this? How are you marketing this? How are you putting it out there?
So right now we are currently planning on social media marketing with the most popular social media platform we have right now is TikTok. So we are hoping to start up an account on that. We are also going to start an Instagram takeover with that. Planning to do that intertwined with it. And I know we were also talking about flyers and stuff to put around town to get that through. But most of our marketing will go through social media because that is where the youth is at right now. That's where they see everything.
Okay. Susan, you have comments? Well, I do. Are you going to the high schools? Are you going to, all of these places because kids talk to kids? I mean,
So, great question. We have been able to talk to friends to get that spread around. I have a wide, broad community of friends, and so does Deep D. So we have been able to start the buzz at school. We've invited mainly our friends and asked them to invite their friends to kickstart it, to just have it. First night is very much, pros and cons. We need to see like what are they not clinging to, what are they clinging to in certain aspects of the area. Are they not liking the theme of the area? Are they not liking certain parts of it? Do they not like that it is still part of that? There will be kids under the age of 16 there with we have a coloring board and bubbles. Are they not liking that it's still too close to the adults? Is it, just all that. But we have targeted that specific place and in school and all that. Me and Deep D both have jobs with people our age. So we have been able to been like, hey, you ever want a day off at work? Well, come over here. Very calming, very relaxed place. You get music. We have venues. We'll have a snow cone venue and an ice cream venue. And it's going to be calming, a nice area for you to sit at and just breathe. So we have been able to get that done. But yes, we have been able to target at schools and summer camps.
safety, big
Safety.
issue.
Safety. So,
Hold on.
I think
What is the question? That was a statement.
Well, safety in this modern day and age is really important, and especially when you got a bunch of teens and et cetera. Are you taking any steps to provide some sort of assistance or someone there who we're worried about safety everywhere these days, and so that is a
Yeah.
question.
Well, for the Levitt concerts, we pay security, we pay the deputies to come in, and they're going to be part of that for that. There will always be adults at all their programs, the concerts with the Holland Projects, the open mic nights. They have they have another board member who is their mentor and liaison on our board too. It's Sierra Scott. She happens to be on your board as well. So, so there is always an adult presence.
Bethany?
Yes, for the record, Bethany Drysdale. I love this. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of opportunity for partnerships, I think, in this proposal. To your point, Barbara, maybe working with AVID programs in the high schools and the, I was going to say junior high, but it's not junior high here in the middle schools, where classes can work on a project and maybe contribute to a production of flyers and there are ways to cut costs there than with having partnerships. Perhaps having a partnership with the Jack transportation, free rides home with your student body card, something like that. I just think there's a lot of potential for partnerships that would be really, really interesting to see those explored. Not a question in that, but a thought.
I have just one more comment, if I would. I don't need to expand anymore. Eric is very eloquent, but I just know that if we want to engage the youth, it has to be by the youth, for the youth. They're not going to listen to us. So that's why we are giving them opportunity. They're running with it, and these are their initiatives.
I have to say, I applaud the initiative. I think it's long overdue.
Long, yeah.
Thank you.
Well done, Eric. You did a really good job in presenting this, and we thank you for coming and wish you all the best. Hope that it's just going to be lots of fun, you know, real education. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's very cool. It's very cool. So next we have, this is so small, oh Lord. Lakeside Studios. There you are. Please come and join us. Welcome. You need to turn on your, okay, and tell us your name.
I'm Lori LeClaire with Lakeside Studios. Everybody probably knows the effervescent Cat Simmons, local nationally known comedian, teacher, author. And we hope to be our on-air host for our venture. Lakeside Studios is a mobile digital television studio, production studio. We create and produce engaging, impactful theater, and it's written specifically to generate local dollars for, not just for the businesses, but for provide employment opportunities for the huge pool of local talent. If I'm reading the maps right, we're headquartered in District 2 over off East Telegraph, but our clients we're targeting are all in Districts 1 and 2. And specifically, we want to, in our first year, choose furniture stores and car dealerships because one has the price point that we need for commissions and the other has built-in sets. So we are partnering with a lot of groups and with our clients, and we are also partnering with Elspeth Summers. She's a director, producer, filmmaker from this area, also singer, and also Deborah Immerscott. She's our co-founder and writer. We're limiting variables. We're choosing initially 2 business types as clients because we want to limit our variables to measure, isolate them and evaluate see what works. We've not yet obtained a business license yet because we haven't engaged in any commerce, and nor have we made any representation, but we're gearing up to do that. All our conversations fall under market research. Our scripts are character-driven and based on composites of colorful, local people whom you might recognize in terms of stereotypes, but in the drama that we create, their pathos is both personal and universal. You could picture a cross between Northern Exposure and Schitt's Creek. Our quirky, modern, cool, and socially relevant comedy dramas are stories of redemption. And what better place to find redemption than right here in Paradise? Our mission and goals we believe, are aligned with the Arts and Cultural Commission's goals. Am I running out of time? Okay. Well, I do have, will the commission accept additional material?
You can leave it with us. You can't present it.
Okay,
We didn't
okay.
get it in the packet. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well,
We can give you a few more minutes if we ask questions to you.
okay,
So
please,
You'll
yeah.
get more time.
Thank you.
Question. Do you have an organizational chart or how is it framed?
I've named myself the CEO. We're really partnering with each other, and so we don't have an organizational chart formally.
And I have, sorry, Susan Mowers for the record. I have some questions as far as, so you're going to be streaming this. Is it like a weekly show? Is it a podcast? What really are we? I was a little confused on what the product was.
Kind of wax rhapsodic in the application. Yeah, we want to do initially, this is kind of just developed in the last week, initially do 3 shows for the grant. And I'm sorry, could you say the question again?
No, so yeah, my question was, what is the product? Like, what's the end?
Oh,
like,
okay,
it's,
yeah,
is it
yeah.
a podcast?
It's
It sounds
a-
like it's 3 developed shows.
It's like television.
Okay.
We're duplicating television and in a streaming service on social media, like YouTube, Facebook.
So it'll be like a weekly program that people can
Yes,
tune
yes.
into.
And both on the internet and also interactive with the audience by inviting them down to the.
Oh, like a live set.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And then with that, just talk a little bit more about the marketing that you'll do.
Well, we plan to do a huge PR campaign to both local and national media. We think we can pick up interest that can spread our beautiful culture across the land. So press releases, social media,
Okay. Well, thank you.
and media.
Yeah. I'm sure other people might have other questions.
Go ahead, Bethany.
For the record, Bethany Drysdale, I like the concept. I'm wondering, the example you give in this proposal is a furniture store and really product placement. Are you translating that into artists and their products and their goods would be featured, or how? What's the local artist component to that?
We do hope to do that, but the acting on the dramas, we the artists, the internet technicians and artists, musicians, that kind of thing.
So it's
As
the
act-
employment of the artists and the
Yes, yeah,
technicians.
yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so your match in this case is the businesses that you interface with, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have interest about the community impact, since the Arts and Culture Commission and for the city, it's to increase, the presence of arts and culture in Carson City.
Yeah,
How are you
okay.
going to demonstrate? How are you going? What kind? I mean, the marketing you can talk about, okay, because you're a newbie in a startup. Get that.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you going to give us? How did it go? What? It's kind of an open-ended thing. I'm trying somehow to
Like to
find
measure our
the
success, you
substance
mean?
that, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, by our client businesses will earn a commission on what we sell on the show. We're still working with, I'm sorry, my mouth is so dry. We're still, do you mind if I just grab?
No, go right ahead. Yeah, artistic merit. I'm looking at the criteria that we have in front of us in terms of how this fits.
Well, the story, we're inspired by a lot of things, but by the pandemic and by the political division in our area and how triggered so many of us are, myself included, or have been. And we're following some professional advice, psychologist advice, that being triggered means you have an attachment trauma from your early childhood. And so the idea comes about for the show that it's trauma survivors who meet for group therapy. And the first recommended treatment, according to Judith Herman, who wrote the Bible on trauma and recovery, is to tell your story. And so we meet the trauma, it's introduced, we learn, and there are a lot of opportunities for humor. And through the episode, the story arc, our characters, through relationship, telling their story, and community support, entertain us and make us laugh and maybe teach us something, learn something.
How
So
will you judge the community impact of what you're
well,
providing?
but okay, what we also want to do, part of the promotion, oh, sorry, I forgot this, is to while we write, after we write it and after we get it for reviewed by the client businesses, is to do table reads with panels. And we would love it if the Arts and Cultural Commission would participate. We could use your advice. But in the community, in the with different cultures, the Native Americans, the various cultures, panels, and word of mouth, social media.
Susan
and
Mowers, for the
ask-
record.
ask
Yeah,
people,
so it
you know.
sounds like you're hoping for community participation as part of the community impact
Yeah,
by
yes,
the diversity
yeah.
of the community, like having them be on the show or having them be involved in the writing.
Yeah, or to watch the filming, as you mentioned, and also, it's a feel-good bit of entertainment, and people need that. People need laughs, and
So it sounds like it's the purpose of this show is to just enrich via entertainment.
enrich and to show that we as a community, which is personal to us in the community, but I think it's happening everywhere, to show us that we aren't the chaos that we have been in the last couple of years, the triggers, that, we can relate to each other and support each other, even though we do have differences. It's kind of the morality of the story.
It's a very interesting concept to me.
Thank you.
However, I need substance, need a plan, need
Well, I do have
objectives, schematics. Stan, do you want to add to that? Because right now it's kind of out there.
Well, right now, I don't think you have a plan. I really don't. I don't think you're prepared to do what you're proposing. The concept is good, but I don't think you're prepared to do it, and I'm very reluctant to support this right now.
Let's see. Well, we do have time, to we've organized. We just haven't really begun. I do have a timeline. I'll leave with Ms. Soul.
Okay. And that's something that, we.
Oh, could I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have various phases. We have the licensing, the contracts, and the hiring of staff, which we're in process. Complete writing the 3-episode series and review them to ensure the project implements the commission's strategic plan, the community impact, artistic merit, and effectiveness in increasing client sales volumes. Review for artistic merit or capability, skills enhancement, and new. Then we move on. We plan to complete that by January of next year. February, we review with the client again. We assemble the panel, another panel to table read, and then we do casting and rehearsals. This is through before we, produce, and then the production would be July 2023 through June 24. Then post-production will take another, it'll continue over the 3 episodes. It's kind of a repeat thing. We do it once, and then we do it again, and then again. So it's throughout the duration. Then the final edit and massive public relations campaign to all local and major national media in July of 23. And then we stream on all social platforms between July 23 and June 24.
You
And we
stream
review the
to
metrics.
whom? You stream to
on the
whom?
internet.
On the internet.
On social media, on YouTube, on Facebook,
Okay.
all platforms.
How is the Carson City community going to benefit from and by whatever it is that you're going to produce? How will we be able to say, yeah, this was a good investment of, city money to help further arts and culture in Carson City for the community of Carson City? That's kind of
Well,
where I'm coming from.
The way our revenue will come from commissions from our tier 1 clients. That would be the car dealers and the furniture stores. Our tier 2 clients would be sponsorships where they get named or product placement. And then tier 3, what am I calling that? It's
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt for just a minute.
Okay.
We need to distinguishing between a revenue for a business model and an initiative for the community.
I see. Well, we're all about the community. I see what you're saying. I don't have an answer for that right now.
I think that's the crux of our struggle up here, is because even though it is a really great idea and to involve artists, because it's grant money, that's where the difference is as far as community impact in a grander scheme on a citywide level.
Well, may I say that it is free to anyone who wants to see it, and it's about us. It's about us, it's by us, and it's for us.
Meaning about Carson City?
About Carson City, yes, and about our, our local flavor.
Okay.
I think you will recognize the people, the characters, and I think they're also universally recognized.
Gotcha.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I know it's very early on, just know it isn't that this isn't something that's quite
Okay.
interesting,
try again.
for the future, but there's a lot of background, a lot of bottom-up work that
Yeah,
needs to
there
happen.
is, there is.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And next, we have another new initiative, the Vintage Market. Who is here representing Vintage? Yeah.
That is myself.
That is you. Wonderful. Okay. And please push the button and identify yourself, and then you have your time.
Okay. Was there enough for everybody?
There isn't. There's only 4. I didn't know how many people were.
There's
on the
only
commission.
4 to pass something out for the board to consider. We need one for each board member, and we need one for the public.
Got it. Okay, no problem. Well, I can just hold up pictures for you. That's fine.
Holding up pictures is perfectly fine.
Cool. We can do that as well. Either way. My name's Travis Legatsky, and I'm the owner of the Downtown Vintage Market, the Birdhouse Group, LLC, and I'm also the second vice president of Carson City Historical Society. So, we started this initiative and started speaking to the May and Hop Adams Foundation about leasing their unused parking lot on the eastern side of Stewart Street to reclaim it for the community for an open-style pop-up market in that space on a seasonal basis. What we are trying to do is connect local artisans, crafters, antiques resellers, and micro businesses in a pop-up outdoor environment after the pandemic and bring them before the tourists and general local public and connect them. Post-pandemic, people's shopping habits have changed. The way they look at open-air markets and food trucks and even a blighted, unused parking lot in the heart of our downtown. The way people look at that has changed from the Reno Outdoor Market, open-air marketplace, to the Heritage Park in Gardnerville. Events are happening all the time, and not just on a one-off basis. It is now becoming 2 to 3 to 4 times a week on an ongoing seasonal basis. And so these areas are being reclaimed by the community in community spaces, and that's what we are attempting to do with our open-air marketplace and that space in general. We approached the Steve Neighbors and asked to lease the space and try this out and see how it goes and see if we could make a go of it, much like the farmers market did in the very beginning in their inception, and they worked with the city as well. We would ask that you guys would join us in looking at this blighted space that's been unused and full of homeless people for the last 10 years and help us reclaim it for the residents on the eastern side of Stewart Street and that live in all of the vintage homes and all of the historic homes of the East Side tour right there. And that's what we're attempting to do. Correct. It is the old RV parking lot that is tucked actually in the neighborhood per se, not really. It's still frontage on Stewart. And then the farmer's market is directly across the street. And all along, we've been very happy that they were willing to come to a bigger area and really use the open spaces in the heart of our downtown for us to use rather than just sit there empty. And so what we've done is we've worked out an arrangement where we are actually going to be sponsoring the Carson City Historical Society with our market as well, and they'll have a booth all season long to raise awareness for what they are doing, raise membership, and also raise funds. So it gives them an additional way to get, in addition to the Foreman Roberts House, gives them another way to start getting the word out and trying to increase awareness as we move towards social media and all of that with the Carson City Historical Society. And then in addition to that, we've worked out an agreement with Mr. Neighbors and the May and Hop Adams Foundation to give 10% of all of the vendor fees that we collect directly to the Carson City Historical Society to benefit them in conjunction with the May and Hop Adams Foundation. Another note with concerns to cultural outreach, we are also looking to encourage nonprofits to come out and give 4 spaces per market absolutely free to community nonprofits to come out, participate, and raise awareness for their causes. Anyone that is local in the community that's a nonprofit can email me directly at manager@Downtown Vintage Market, put nonprofit in the subject line, and we will absolutely encourage them to come out and participate free. This is a free event for the public. This is not it's not like a charged, ticketed, gated entry to a flea market. It's much more like a farmer's market dealing in antiques, arts, crafts, upcycling, vintage, and really micro businesses. We're doing our best not to do MLM stuff because we really want local artisans to be connected with tourists And that's really our aim with that. And then we put up a kiosk right here it's basically a community message board that we're going to build out. It's going to be lighted and everything, and we put our sign on it. And on the sides of it already have cork boards, and we're going to be closing it in and making it so people can actually put their events on that. And so as the Saturday market goes off, and when we get to finally opening the Sunday market, the community really can participate in this space, much like the city would do if it was a park, or like in McFadden Plaza. We're purposefully trying to beautify that parking lot as much as you can beautify a parking lot, much like the city would already do.
What are the dates?
It started on June 4th, and it goes all the way until October 1st. And then we're planning an event for Nevada Day in that space as well.
How many days a week?
At the moment, it is Saturday. We are trying to go Saturday and Sunday and launch that. Weather hasn't been permitting us lately. 50-mile-an-hour winds on Sunday don't really work too well with pop-up tents. And then our hope is that as we gain community buy-in and participation, that we would be able to launch a Friday night market and be able to have not only a daytime experience, but a weekend marketplace, much like other cities have. And we have a smaller downtown, so a smaller space like that seems like it would be a good fit.
Sure. It's your turn.
Karen Abad for the record. Hi, Travis.
Hi.
2 questions. One, how do you foresee making this a sustainable scenario in future?
Mm-hmm.
And second question is, for the record, what's your match?
My
Monetary match
oh
for this project?
I think you guys are only, what I'm asking for is 20% or less.
Okay.
Yeah. We anticipate we'll be over 50,000 into it by the end. So yeah, we're not asking for more than 20%. And then how to get to sustainability, because it's a free open market for the community. We're working with the city and Hope, trying to get a business license, a liquor license for it, to be able to sell beer and have a small little beer garden during the events. Not just this event, but other events that we plan, because we are an events business. That's what we are trying to do, is put on multiple events, and this is just the first one. And so our thoughts are not to have people just running around getting drunk. That's not the intent of this. The intent is a family community atmosphere, and in open air markets and pop-up events like that, if you go into, say, the Reno River Walk Festival, or you go to the Friday night food trucks in the river area, or even into Heritage Park in Gardnerville, where they do Wine Down Wednesdays, and they're doing I believe a Flight Friday or something like that, where it's a wine garden and a beer garden right in the heart of downtown. The path that we see to sustainability is to keep it free and keep that tame but accessible. And that's really the way that we see it. And we think that that's a winning solution for open air markets to begin with, but also it gives all different categories of participants skin in the game, and it also enables us to supplement labor with selling 20 beers or something, whatever it would be. It's a small space, so I don't anticipate it being a massive, crazy event,
Susan Mowers for the record. So I also, kind of piggybacking off of that, how do you vet your vendors and making sure that you also have quality vendors for the events? Are people signed up for, or will be signing up for multiple day, like for a season? And because you had mentioned, like, you want to kind of stay away from anybody that's going to be, doing something that's more on a
that parking lot, and for the record, I own the house adjacent, the White House on the corner. And so we've tried to tailor it and make it look very similar. And for that area to be a gateway to the vintage homes in the back. That was the thought. Like, if we make this nice right here, then when you look beyond this and you look east, it looks beautiful. You start to look at those homes differently, especially since most of them are being renovated and resold.
Yeah.
And so our first intent is to be a vintage market, to take over a little bit for what the Flying Pig down in Fuji, when they closed during the pandemic, the Kybers flea market that was up in Tahoe closed down, and a lot of vintage resellers have nowhere to go.
So have they already got,
Yes.
you've got interest in
Yeah,
whatnot?
so we're
they're-
starting to build. We're only in our second week, and we're starting to build. And we've got a couple from the Flying Pig that are coming in, and we're doing a no real long-term commitment market, because in addition to that, we're trying to source vendors and take them from Reno and take them from Gardnerville and bring them here. Because a lot of our residents actually go to Reno for festivals and for these vendors. And we're trying to give them access to them right here in downtown.
And
for
are
free.
there, in addition to the outside areas, are there anybody, vendors locally, like Carson City?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. For the Brittany Anna Creations, Brittany Catroli, she's a beautiful jewelry maker in town. We've got Janice Blessing. She's a artisan who makes macrame. So those are two locals right there that are coming out of our own pool of artisans and crafters. And then one of our vintage vendors, Kim, she's a vintage vendor locally. Another one of our vintage vendors, Linda, she is a vintage vendor locally from Carson City. So we're trying to supplement from those others, but we really want to make it
Yeah, because I mean, as
homegrown.
great as it would be to, if you're filling in, I think for our purposes, we'd want the focus to
Local.
be as local artists as possible,
yeah.
for sure,
Absolutely.
to amplify them.
100%. The intent and the first purpose of our market, like I spoke in the very beginning, was to connect local micro businesses and local artisans and crafters with tourists. And so to further flush out that idea, this kiosk that I showed you the picture of, on the other side, we're doing actually a map, a community map, that's going to be called the Vintage and Thrift Railway map. And it's basically a walking map through from our market for tourists as they come in, and we get them into the market season to go to and walk past Hannafin's, over to Kaleidoscope, back around Curry, walk all the way up north on Curry, and go to Westfall Militaria, and all the way ending at Pastime and coming back down to Fish. And we took on the V&T, Vintage and Thrift, to tie in and be able to actually put the historical, the Thurman Roberts building on there, and any of the the museums along the way on our map as we build it out. This idea is just coming together, and we're in the selection process right now, because the first artist that was gonna do the map actually took on a totally different project and said they can't do it until August, and I said, that's just way too long. So,
Travis, some of these artist murals, $1,000, on-site toilet rentals, $2,500. But if you're right next to the farmer's market, those same vendors are at the farmer's market that you're
No.
seeking.
no, we do not, we are not
They don't
pulling.
have jewelry and macrame. I see those places when I go there.
They're different local artisans and different local vendors. So just like the farmer's market is a farmer's market, right? And they supplement their market with artists and crafters and all that. A vintage market does exactly the same. So the main purpose is what you're calling it out as, and then you're supplementing your market until you can flush it out with all of the vendors that you're trying to get, to provide a full market experience to the shoppers coming in. So it's not necessarily that it's direct just because this artisan makes macrame and this artisan makes macrame, it's not always the same. It's quite different between artist to artist. Some make little macrame, some make giant pieces. And so you really have to look at vendor to vendor. And the shoppers at the end of the day are going to dictate what they buy.
Sure.
And so providing variety for our local residents and tourists is the best policy among all, in my view.
Bethany?
Yeah, I want to maybe expand on that a little bit. Does this compete or collaborate with farmers market?
We're trying to be as complementary as possible. So we are not trying to compete with the farmers market whatsoever. We're already over 5,000 into advertising. So we're not trying to compete and take away. We're looking at the space as open air blight, and actually utilizing it for the community is a much better community policy, and having more events and it getting bigger is better for everybody in our downtown, rather than taking the approach of you're doing this or we sell fries, but you sell fries too, so we're competing now. It's really not competition at the end of the day between the markets. The vendors all compete for their space, but at the end of the day in pop-up markets, there's so many different artisans and they create so many different individual, unique pieces of art that it can't even really be called competition.
And what is your plan? I love the beautification elements of your proposal.
Thank you.
I think that
Wonderful.
extends beyond just the time of the market itself.
Yes.
What's your kind of long-term plan for backing out of grant funding and making this sustainable without the grant funding?
Right now, we're currently doing a small, we're the only one selling refreshments on that side. So that's why we're trying to add a small little beer garden and serve mimosas for people to sip and shop, like a lot of the vintage stores already do. And so in the limited time the market's open, and the environment, it's a family environment. So you can't even really count on it like a bar or tavern would be. A bar or tavern, you're going there just to have drinks. The environment is not community family. But this, and having a small beer garden, it's a little bit more like, I don't even want to call it a festival, but it's trying to bring fun and airiness to it because it's outside. And we think that that's going to supplement our labor and help us so we don't need you. That's it. But just to get to there is why I'm here.
So a question for the city, is the permits for to have a license for beer and all of that, what's the process on that?
I know that he has been working with Hope. I'm not sure what the outcome will be of whether or not the liquor license would be granted.
Okay. Stan, any questions? Chris?
Christopher Leba for the record. I know it's in the name with vintage, and I know you mentioned a couple of times you want it to be more of a family environment. For those who are taking their children or teenagers, what's kind of the big point of bringing the family there? I know we have kind of a lot of the adults with the vintage and antiques, but
Yeah.
a lot of children aren't really interested in a lot of art and antiques.
can't? Oh, got it. Okay. So I'll just describe our last market. So in the last market, we put out picnic tables, we put out Adirondack chairs, and throughout our build and the proposal that I put in, we actually want to include misters and some shade and be able to get to a point where people that are out there in that open space can actually relax and enjoy. At the last market, we've got a large tree on our side, and we had about 15 people at any given time hanging out under the tree on picnic tables, playing with their kids, running around playing and scribbling and making drawings, chalk drawings all over the asphalt. So by the end of the market, we had a third of the asphalt covered in children's chalk drawings. In addition to that, we had cornhole out there, and the kids were playing cornhole for about 5 hours. And what else did we have? Gosh. And then we've got life-size Jenga, and we're getting Connect 4, a life-size Connect 4 for the kids. And so we're really trying to make it a community place on that side of the street, in addition to being a place of commerce. And we believe we could do it with very little to no investment from the city. And so we also believe that our idea could be a test case for the city to look into taking these areas of blight and utilizing them, or at least allowing private citizens to utilize them, much like what we're trying to do right now. And taking a pro-event stance on that just reclaims them and makes the community fuller. And so that's how we're trying to get the kids involved. And then we had snow cones, we had Snow Flow out there, and they've got a large following. And the first market that we had about 4 residents come out and say hi. Last week, I had 10 different residents from those neighborhoods come out that were different from the week before, come out and participate and hang out and shop at our vendors and then go home or continue on to the farmer's market.
And so for those vendors that are, or artists even, vendors or artists that are maybe more oriented to the younger crowd, to say children or teenagers, would this be something that they could also participate in, or is this something that they should kind of?
This next week, it's either this week or the next week. I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize. But we have a collectibles vendor that was at the Flying J market that wants to participate for the rest of the season with toys and collectibles and all the above. So yes, absolutely. The vendors, it is vintage in the aspect of the location and how it looks from that way. That is one aspect of the vintage in the name Vintage Market, and why we tried to make it beautify that front on Stewart Street. Because we also tried to take into account the houses behind that are historic. I don't know if any of you know, but there used to be a historic East Side tour, and there's East Side houses that are historic. Mine being one of them is on it, and my neighbors. And in the community, there used to be 3 houses that were on a main street that were all in the 1800s. The old Adele's, the Foreman Roberts house, and my house on the corner of Stewart and Telegraph. And our heart and our intention is to keep them alive and well as long as possible, because they provide the charm, we believe, in this town, and we think that we can do something fun in this parking lot. So I thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us, yeah, because time is moving on, and we need to also. Thank you for that.
Sorry.
And it would be nice if you have more of those folders. If you would, bring them to Deborah, she could get them to us.
I could just leave it all right here.
Okay, fine.
I will, yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I'll email you everything.
Okay, and then we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so we have CCAI. Yay, Sharon Ross. Sharon.
Hi, Sharon
again.
Ross, Capital City Arts Initiative. CCI has applied for a requested $5,000 in a grant to help support our 20th year exhibitions, cultural talks, and online archive projects. The funding will support staff, which we have to make, without staff, we wouldn't have the programs. So the funding will help support staffing. So we will have 10 shows in 3 public buildings, this room, the courthouse, and the Brick, where our student shows are. And they're basically year-round exhibitions. The exhibitions change, but they're up 12 months. So the student gallery features high school students from Carson, Dayton, Douglas, and Pioneer, and 2 WNC student shows. And we have Nevada Neighbors Talks, which since the pandemic are all being recorded and posted online. And also, since the pandemic, we are recording artist interviews and gallery tours with our exhibitions, and those are online as well. So it really extends the life of an exhibition. As far as YouTube's concerned, the exhibition never comes down. So, and we have active marketing, and this is going to be our 20th year, and we're sort of busting our buttons about that.
And you have a membership.
And we have memberships. Thank you, ma'am. Yes,
Donors.
we have memberships. And our memberships are a vital part of community outreach, community interaction, and financial support. So we also get grants, public, private foundations, public funding, memberships, and all those are active. Our marketing is our flyers, which I believe you all receive, and our monthly e-newsletter, and social media, and of course the website, which is always up to date. And I can't remember. Let's see, what else does it say under number 6? I think that's pretty much it. Press releases, digital press releases to the Appeal and to Carson Now, and website, social media. Funders are all acknowledged on everything we do.
Comments, questions?
Our exhibition list, you have our exhibition list for the year.
Yes.
So
It is. And for the newer members to this commission, if you've not availed yourself of the opportunity to attend one of these showings, which change quite regularly, it certainly is worth your time and effort. They're quite beautiful and well done. Well done.
well, thank you.
And they work very hard. I know they work very hard.
The new show is over at the courthouse is Claire Pasquier from Paris, France, or from Bordeaux, right? Sorry, she just moved to Bordeaux. The paintings are beautiful. She did them when she was in San Francisco. And the motivation was when she moved to San Francisco from Paris, she was used to seeing Alfred Hitchcock movies. And she got to San Francisco, and it wasn't just movies. She was right there with the sights from the movies, and she said sort of startled her, blew her mind in the vernacular. So that promoted her paintings that are sort of like moire fabric, how moire fabric has that sort of dual vision to it. And so the paintings are that. So if you look at the paintings up close, they look a little, but if you look at them way back, so they're wonderful. We're thrilled with the exhibition. I hope you get over to see it.
Thank you. Sharon, you weren't here at the beginning when I did read that the grants were sort of like at 10,000 at this point, up to, but it says up to 5,000 arts and culture projects or events that have been previously received redevelopment grant funding, and that includes recurring projects or events of a similar nature, such as different theatrical productions and so on and so on and so on. Grant repeating coming year after year after year, there will be points removed because the whole thing was sustainability, the purpose behind the redevelopment grant. So just so you know that is a caveat in there. And several folks who've come tonight will have some points taken off because of the numbers of times that you've come before this commission. But having said that, at least I've notified everybody as to how this is being scored now. It's there's a new ranger in town, and it's a different way that the city and so on is wanting us to do business. Having said that, I think your grant request is wonderful.
Well, thank you.
So thank you.
Any
for
other
that.
questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Well, you betcha.
Thank you. Thank you.
Third that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Okay, then we have, who do I have? I have Wild Horse. Who is here representing Wild Horse? And again, the same thing applies in terms of numbers of time coming back to the organization.
On already, great. Well, good evening.
Good
My name
evening.
is Robin Cotto, and I'm here representing Wild Horse Stage Co. I am the Assistant Director and Choreographer for our children's division, Wild Horse Children's Theater.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Van Giel, and I am the executive producer of Wild Horse Productions.
Nice. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. We have undertaken a very big project of A Chorus Line. It's a show from the 70s, the longest running show on Broadway until 1997. And when this proposal was made, we hadn't cast yet, but we have casted. We're 2 weeks into rehearsals, and I can give you some information on that if you'd like. It's being directed by a local director from Reno, Jean-Paul Rivard, who has worked with the choreographer of the revival of Chorus Line and has brought to Carson City all of the original choreography for this show. So cast members are learning original choreography for this show. It will be done in its original form. This is the kind of show that doesn't tour very often, so doesn't come to our area. It is an older show, so it's a show that a lot of our younger youth that are into the arts and musical theater don't know anything about. It's also a show that carries some themes that are still relevant today. So the basis of the show is 17 talented dancers who want to prove that they can be dancers, actors, and singers. So this show was created in a time where there was not a triple threat. You were either a dancer or you were a singer, actress. And so this kind of broke the barrier. The themes include self-confidence, body image, sexuality, gender identification, sexual orientation, tragic childhood, and the actors, through their story, tell how it affected them and how they're overcoming that, and through dance and the arts that it is surmountable. We have rehearsals at the Black Box in the Brewery Arts Center. We are their parent, or we are their, is that what they call it? They're a resident theater company, and so we are getting that space at a very big discount. Then we move this to the community center in August, where we are getting the nonprofit discount for the community center, and it will be 2 weekends. The last 2 weekends in August, it'll be 8 shows total. Did you add anything? Okay, great. The biggest cost to a production of any kind is the rental space, of course, for the theater, and the rights to the show. So before you start producing anything, you have to put in for the rights to the show and upfront that money, which we have done to secure the licensing fees for the show. And so the $5,000 is going towards those two biggest costs, the rental fees and the licensing fees. The rest of the money will be supported by ticket sales, some donations, and concessions.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Dan?
Another great, this is Susan Mowers for the record, just a great proposal, like very thorough. So just so is the cast just local talent that is all community theater based, or are the cast paid? I'm new to this.
Yeah, so our cast is 31. And we have people from all different backgrounds. So when you said, like, are they local community? Yes, they are local, but local as far as Kings Beach, Gardnerville, Truckee, Fallon, Reno, Douglas.
Surrounding area.
Yes. So actors are coming out for this. And we have like Alexander Biber, who has danced for the Sacramento Ballet. So he has an audience there. We have Alex Gum in our show, who worked in New York. So he has a following from there. Yeah, so it is community people. We are getting a $100 stipend, which many of the cast members will donate back to the organization.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful to hear.
Interesting. So what are the fees for presentation here?
For the community center,
Mm-hmm.
I believe I don't have that breakdown. Our total cost for rental is going to be about $7,900, and I believe 75% of that is the community center fees.
Okay. Karen?
And are you getting a nonprofit discount for the, you are? Okay.
We have the nonprofit discount for the community center, and then we have the in-kind donated, partially donated time with the BAC. Since we were their resident theater company, we're paying less than a nonprofit rental fee for
Okay.
the rehearsals.
Okay. And just for the record, your match?
I'm sorry?
The match to the funds you're requesting?
Oh, the match is going to be about $25,000.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great group. Thank you. Okay. And then we have, where are we? We have Pinkerton. And then we have one symphony. Yeah, symphony will come next. And that's it. So we have two left. Thank you. Good evening. Nice to
Good
be with
evening.
us. Your name for the record, please. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Chip, and I'm representing the Pinkerton Dance Art Ballet Theater, which is doing business as Nevada Dance Company now. We have two new artistic directors. They're a husband and wife team, both had almost 20 years of ballet in their background. They own a dance studio down in Minden, and they are now the artistic directors, and Ayako will be overseeing everything. They also are on the board, which what we're asking for is $5,000 for the production of the Nutcracker during Thanksgiving. It's been put on since 1988 by Pinkerton. And who became a nonprofit organization in 1990. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought. Has been ever since. And that's the way the new board that has just recently been selected and adapted. They've had 2 meetings now. There's a whole new board that has a vision of keeping the Nutcracker intact exactly the way it's been, but they want to, at the direction of Erica and Oliver Adams, they want to expand to other future productions, one next spring in 2023, and they haven't selected the production yet. They just identified the time that they want to do it. They also are going to start selecting dancers from the area to be in a pre-professional company. And they want to start that, and they would like to start paying those kids a stipend at first. So what this means is that historically, the Nutcracker in larger companies in larger cities and smaller cities kind of sustains the company. And so that's what they want to use the Nutcracker for. Not that won't be anything taken away from the Nutcracker. In fact, we'll try to enhance it each year to get a little bit better, and keeping in mind that the idea is for the local area kids that are dancers or actors to have a venue that they can perform in next to, right along shoulder to shoulder with professionals. It's really inspiring to see these kids and how they react to that. Anyway, so do you have any questions?
Go ahead.
I'm asking lots of questions. I love that having dance is vital, I think, to a community. And as someone who did a little ballet and ballroom growing up, I'm all about so I love the idea of having, so the Nutcracker being the sustaining, like, profit generating to keep the company going. So my question is, what are the funds that you're requesting for this grant going to be used for?
They're going to be used to pay for the theater, the Bob Boldrick Theater, and also for the Russian dancers and any of the other professionals.
Okay, so for professional fees.
Yeah.
And are you getting the nonprofit discount for the theater?
Yes.
Okay.
So on your page 3, annual budget of the organization, that's some impressive figures, 53,465. What is that?
53,000.
I'm looking at reserves, 53.
That's what we have. We have in reserve now since this last Nutcracker, and that's what the money that we're going to be using to to do the other productions, as seed money for the other productions, as well as the Nutcracker. We also are going to be replacing a lot of this. The costumes and the sets in the Nutcracker are very, very old, and so they need to be updated and replaced or repaired. So some of the money, we were really quite excited that this last Nutcracker sold out every performance, and they're actually adding another performance.
Yeah. So on your request, we should be changing the official title to the Nevada Dance Company, not
Yes.
Pinkerton? Okay, because this says Pinkerton.
Yes.
Any questions?
I have one more, just as far as sustainability for moving forward. As Barbara said, as you apply year in year, and it seems like you guys are successfully profitable as far as you said you sold out. So what are your plans moving forward to kind of wean yourself off this, the grant funding?
Well, as I said, we have a new board, and the new board is new. And so with that comes a little learning curve, but our intentions are to begin Friends of the Nevada Dance Company type foundation for the company, and so that will help sustain it. And also, we are this year are increasing the number of productions. The performances that they're doing, so that we can accommodate more people that weren't able to go last year, and also make the extra money.
So just so you're aware that in the scoring, perfect would be 30. There are some points that are going to be taken off because you've come with some regularity every year.
Sure.
But we know, in hearing that you're working towards sustainability, way to go.
Good.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
That was lovely. Thank you. Yep. Okay. And last but not least, we have the Carson City Symphony. Yay.
Thank you. Eleanor Bugley. I'm president of the Carson City Symphony Association, and we are coming back for another grant, another year. Our organization started in 1984 with the symphony. At that time, the capital of the state did not have an orchestra. The symphony is a community orchestra open to everyone. Only the guest soloists and directors, conductors, and if we have a commissioned piece, the composer would be paid. But the people who perform are community members. We, at Christmas time that first year, we thought it would be nice to have a chorus sing with us. And there was a community chorus in Carson City, and they performed with us. But the following year, that group had disbanded. So we said, we need to support a community chorus. And Carson Chamber Singers started then, and it still exists under our umbrella. We also realized that although
Our schools had wonderful music programs with general music and singing and band. There were no string programs, and we had the goal to get string programs in the school. So we started an after-school string program with beginning violins. They were second graders. And when they got to be middle school age, we were able to persuade the school to start some in-school string programs. And our string directors went into the school every day to help the band directors with their new programs. And after the 2 years after that, when our beginners were reaching high school, the Carson City School District started orchestra programs in the high school. And year after that, we persuaded them that they really needed a string teacher, an orchestra director. So they advertised for one, and we have Brian Fox. There are now 5 school orchestras in the middle and high school in Carson City. And we still help them. We donate instruments. We go in and have our leaders coach the students. So that's the main thing. But what we're asking for the money for is concerts. 7 concerts. We do many more than that, but these 7 are in the redevelopment district. And 6 of them are at the community center, and 1 is at the Capitol Amphitheater. That's the outdoor one, which should have been held there yesterday, but we had to move indoors because of the wind and the falling branches. But the show went on. We do charge admission for the symphony concerts and for the chamber singers concerts, the ones that are separate from it. We don't charge admission to the youth symphony concerts, and we also get a discount from the community center for use, but it still costs us about $900 for a rehearsal and a performance for each of those concerts. However, for the youth concerts, we use a special partnership with the school district for those, so they don't charge us for those. So that's really special for us. As with
Ellie, can I question, the charge is $900 per concert?
Per concert.
Per concert.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow.
So, where was I?
It's a musician's union.
That's with the nonprofit discount. But that includes everything, including the sound guy, the custodian, the reader message board up front, and sometimes an extra room for our pre-concert talks that we give that explain what is on the program to the audience. And we have matching funds from the admission we charge, but this is true of every classical music group. Admissions do not cover the costs of concerts. All over, even the Reno Philharmonic. They do summer pops concerts to help raise more money. We have memberships, and that brings in quite a bit. We sell advertising in our concert programs, but the cost of printing has really gone up. We stopped using color inside just for the covers, and it costs us still about $3 a program. Some organizations are just using on internet programs and not printed ones, but it's something that our audience really likes to have. And so do the performers like to have it with their names in it. Another source is other grants. We have a Nevada Arts Council grant. We have sometimes grants from Nevada Humanities if we do a special cultural program. And we had a national grant, Challenge America grant, from the NEA. But because of the pandemic, we had to keep extending that one. And they were understanding about letting us extend the deadline. So for the coming season, we're bringing in some artists who were not able to be here last year, but we did substitute other ones, so we are continuing. So I know we're going to lose points because we're recurring, and we still need the support of the city to keep going because the expenses are going up. Our directors wanted more money. The community center wanted more money. The printers want more money. So we need all the help we can get.
Just one note on the printers, that's my wheelhouse, is that I wonder if you can't, the price of printing is astronomical right now, but maybe there's something you could do where at the end of the season, I don't know if you have a season end concert or whatever, you could actually do a specialty program that you could sell, like that people could, you already have advertising, but so you could sell the program for, $5 or $10 if it was like a commemorative piece, like every season. That's just a thought.
I want to
We could
say to
try.
LA, because I think I can remember when I first came on the Cultural Commission, like in the dark ages, first question was, do you have any members? Do you do any fundraising? And I just have to say
Absolutely.
bravo, because you are, and you've done really, really well in growing your membership and the donations, and should be very
Thank
proud
you.
of that.
Thank you. What we really need is more volunteers and more staff. Even to sell commemorative programs, you need somebody to do the work. And we have a working board who work very professionally, but are volunteers. And we can only push them so hard.
Well, the issue of having people come work for you, try having a business where you pay somebody to come and work for you. They can't get anybody to work anywhere. So everybody's kind of in that same boat. Stan, do you have any comments or questions?
I just want to thank you and Dave for all you've done in the arts and culture field over the years.
Oh, thank you.
It's been very rewarding,
Thank
and
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, as someone who grew up with music, that's how my parents met, was with music. And we had to all learn the piano in my family, plus another instrument. I'm floored and also just commend you on starting the strings here. I can't imagine that the schools didn't have it before. And so, wow, that's just fantastic that you were able to get the string program going.
Thank you.
I think that's fantastic.
Just pile on the praise a little bit. I'm really happy to see in your present, this is important, in your proposal, the free youth concerts. Concerts are accessible, free family passes. It's so important to be able to offer arts and culture, that's what we're doing, to those who maybe can't afford regular ticket prices, or just making it easy for kids. They don't have to go, buy a ticket. Just make it easy for them to access. And some of these more traditional forms of art, symphony may not be a word that kids jump at first, but an easy way to introduce them to it, and maybe it sparks something in them. So I'm really happy to see that in the proposal.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We always give family passes to all our string students, both the ones in the schools and in our after-school program. And they're good for up to 2 adults and unlimited. All our concerts are free for age 18 and under.
Nice.
So about half our audience is complimentary tickets. So raising our ticket prices doesn't help as much as it should, but it's important.
And Nellie, I just wanted to thank you for all your hard work. I understand a working board and doing all you can do. And so you brought this a long way. And thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Very kind. Okay, Deborah, I'm going to turn it back over to you at this point in time and explain to us, because the process has.
All right, we're going to try and
You
keep this
quirks.
as simple as possible.
Okay.
Barb, I'm going to ask you for your totals, just moving across for BAC Rock and Roll Exhibit,
I have 27,
BAC Youth Engagement,
30,
Lakeside Studios,
17. They need a plan.
Vintage Marketplace,
I put 20,
Historical Society,
30,
CCA Initiative.
I hate the point thing. I said 20,
Okay. Wild Horse
I had 24,
Jazz and Beyond,
22,
Symphony,
21. And that's
Pinkerton.
adding some because there were a lot more points that were taken off.
Pinkerton.
22.
Okay. And Karen,
Rock and roll, 27. Youth engagement, I have 30. Lakeside Studios, I agree with Barb. They need a plan. 22 is what I gave them. That was probably generous. Vintage Market, I gave it 27. And let's see, the Historical Society, 28. And the CCA Initiative, just because of point deduction, 20. Wild Horse Theater, 24. Jazz and Beyond, 21. Carson Symphony, 19. And Pinkerton, 21. And those are all based on the point deduction thing.
thank you. And Susan. Oh, pardon me, I missed Stan.
BAC 27, Youth Group 29, Lakeside 20, Vintage Market 26, Historical Society 26, CCAI 20, Wild Horse 24, Jazz Beyond 21, Sympathy 19, and Pinkerton 21.
Thank you. And Susan.
All the way across.
Okay. I had to shrink my screen so I could see both the scores and the grant application.
I apologize. It was hard to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll 26, the Youth Initiative 30, Lakeside Studios, I scored them really low, 11. Unfortunately, great idea, but yeah, need more info. Vintage Marketplace 27, Historical Society 24, CCA 20, Wild Horse 24, Jazz and Beyond 20, Symphony 20, and Pinkerton 22.
Thank you. And Bethany.
All real close. It's interesting.
Okay, Rock and Roll 28, Youth Engagement 30, Lakeside 4, Vintage Market 25, Historical Society 27, CCAI 20, Wild Horse 24, Jazz 22, Symphony 20, Pinkerton 20.
Thank you. And Christopher.
Rock and Roll is 28. Youth Engagement is 30. Lakeside is 4. Vintage is 25. Historical is 30. CCA Initiative is 20. Wild Horse is 24. Jazz and Beyond is 22. CC Symphony is 20. And Pinkerton is 21.
Amazing. We were
Thank
very
you.
close. All the way across. Very interesting. Okay. What do we do with that now?
Well, I'm actually trying to see if I can plug this in. Maybe yes, maybe no.
There you go.
Okay. Hang on a second. Come on, cursor, don't fail me now.
It was wonderful to have new people, too.
There we go. Okay. Come on. Yes, technology is wonderful when it works.
This is always the one meeting a year that takes a long time.
Yeah. All right, I will just read them out to you. Uh-oh. Second.
Beg your pardon?
Window P? Key, letter
Don't come to me for
P.
electronics, that's why I got married.
Click on this one and this one at the same time.
Hang on a sec.
It's amazing how close.
This one and this one.
And then select duplicate.
Thank you.
I don't
It
think
worked at
will
the
be.
last meeting, and of course, at this meeting, it decided to throw me a curve. So you can see at the bottom here the total scores. So this is what
We
we're
can?
working with right now. Okay.
Oh, here it
Um,
is. Oh, thank God.
I can do this. Let's go. I'm going to put the totals at the top so you can see it next to the actual applicant. 178,
I don't know, it's
150.
just on my screen. How do we get it on people's screens? It's on mine, but others don't have it.
150, 165, 120.
Lord.
165, 120, 144, 128. This just saves having to scroll up and down to see which 19 and 127. Okay. There we go. So that's the totals based on everyone's scores. So it looks to me like the highest scoring applicants are the rock and roll exhibition, the youth engagement proposal, the vintage marketplace, the historical society, Wild Horse, and then moving down from that, Jazz and Beyond, the Pinkerton Ballet, Carson City Symphony, and then Lakeside Studios.
Wait a minute, where's CCAI?
Oh, it was in there too, I'm sorry, at 120. Yeah, that initiative. So now you have the opportunity to decide, do you want to allocate funds in that order? Do you want to allocate their total amounts? Or do you want to make some changes in what they're asking for?
Go ahead.
I'll throw this out there. First of all, I think Lakeside Studios is premature, and so I don't suggest funding on that aspect. I think youth engagement should get $10K. I think the Historical Society, even though he wasn't aware of Match, I know what they've done for Match in terms of getting grants and keeping that Foreman Roberts house going. So I know it's there. So I would suggest the full amount they requested, which was $6,000. And then rock and roll, $8,000, and vintage market, $8,000. And that's all the 10K applicant category. Then my screen disappeared. Okay. So I'm not sure if it's because I don't have a screen to look at.
Seeing yourself.
Yeah, I'm seeing me. Laptop
Laptop
on?
one? What?
Thank you. Okay. Appreciate it. Okay, so.
Okay, Gracie, you're on.
Wild Horse Theater scored the top in the 5K category, so they would get the 5,000. And then I think the next one down, let's see, is Jazz and Beyond, the way I look at it. So that would be 4,000. And Pinkerton is next, and that would be 4, correct? And then let's see.
Symphony and CCA.
Symphony and CCAI. Well, CCAI would be next, so they would be 3,000, and the Symphony 2,000. And that should be 18. And I think the totals add up.
16 and 10 is 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just my thought.
5, 35. 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 14, 12, 3. It's amazing how it's almost, yeah. Yeah. Are we out of money?
So that totals 46?
Yeah. I got 50.
You got 50?
That means we blew all the money.
Which you don't have to do.
They're all very worthy. And it's wonderful to have new. And legacy, yeah.
$32,000 on a total in the 10,000 category.
Yeah.
And 8, 12, 16, 18,000 in the $5,000 category. That's 50,000.
Yeah. Are we okay with that, everybody? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay.
I move, Susan Mowers, for the record, I move to move forward with the breakdowns as Karen stated.
Okay.
Do we need any more information than just that to go to the Board of Supervisors? That's all you need? Okay, on the motion, let's call the roll on, let's call the board on this. I want a voice vote, please.
Right. Chairperson Dineo.
Aye.
Sorry, Commissioner.
Yes.
Commissioner Haybout. Aye. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Leyva. Commissioner Mowers. Commissioner Drysdale. All right, sounds like the ayes take it.
Yes, take it. Absolutely. Thank you. That's a real exercise, and thank you all for your patience. You know, I mean, we hope there are people who are really happy, and I know some are feeling kind of down, but we are here for you, and we hope you will continue. Okay, to all of you. Moving on now to item number 7, Cultural Commission non-action items. We have the city manager's arts and culture report.
I think we might have skipped one. There's a
What do we
Mark
got?
Twain.
Oh, the Mark
6B.
Twain. The Mark Twain, but it came separate. That's this one. That's this one. Okay, Deborah.
I'll try and make this quick. So I am proposing that the Cultural Commission considers introducing a public art project that would see the creation of a Mark Twain mural. And this is a mural that is intended to complement and work with the Mark Twain Festival that's taking place next April, the new Capital City Festival. And the mural is intended to be a portrait of Mark Twain that would be a permanent art installation somewhere in the downtown area. And to undertake this mural, I would propose that the Cultural Commission considers establishing a project panel and following basically the procedures that you will be presented with at the next meeting. But this is just the first step in that process. So that would be to establish a project panel to explore the parameters of the project, to put together an RFP for proposals so that we can have an artist come forward and decisions made about the content of the mural, and to have the mural come to fruition essentially before the festival takes place. The only reason that I'm bringing this project forward at this time prior to the public art policy is that I'm concerned that if we don't start this project soon, that it won't be completed before the actual festival, because we all know how long it takes to get the project panel pulled together, to do a request for proposals, and then to actually allow time for the artist to create the work and to have a location identified and the mural hung in its location. So that's what I'm asking the Cultural Commission to consider at this meeting, establishing the project panel for this mural and moving forward with the project in a timely manner so that it would be completed before of April next year.
Do you have any suggestions or idea where you're proposing to put it?
That is actually something I would like the project panel to also work on. I think that we're going to need to work with the Downtown Business Association, with the DBA, and with the downtown business owners. There may be a public partnership, a public-private partnership that's possible. There may also be city property where this mural could be located, so it would actually be entirely a public art project owned by the city. But these are all details that would really need to be discussed and worked out through a project panel.
Can we have a motion? There is a proposed motion. Someone want to move it? Okay.
I move to approve the Mark Twain mural project concept and direct staff to move forward with an RFP as discussed on the record.
Second. There's a second. Bethany, seconded. Comments, questions, discussion? We're done. On the motion, just a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to get that one done. Now we will come to the city manager, Ms. Paulson.
All right, I just had a couple things. The recreation supervisor recreation program supervisor, sorry, for the arts and culture, the new city position. We just finalized the job description, and that should be posting soon. So hopefully we will be able to fill that position soon after July 1st. And like we had already discussed earlier, the draft public art policy is complete. And this was worked on by various departments of the city. You know, we had Public Works and Community Development and our offices and Deborah. And we think we have a pretty good draft. So we'd like to bring that to the commission. And since our next meeting wouldn't probably be until September, wanted to see if you'd like to do a special meeting, which we could talk about, I guess, under the next meeting line.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, so a question that I have. I know you're going to put the RFP out for this position. At the time that you have candidates, can there be someone from this commission who is involved in the interview process?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. You can have up to what, 2, 3, whatever. Just know that because we're going to be working with this person We really would like to see their eyeballs. Okay. Okay. Any other comments? Anything anybody wants to talk about? Yes, you may do a commissioner's report.
First of all, the flower baskets are up downtown, and I want to thank all the people that stepped up and sponsored for the watering of those flower baskets. It is much appreciated. Also, last Monday, we cut the ribbon on our native plant nursery and composting site out at Carson High School, which advances environmental education for the students, so that's a big deal. Also, and I brought flyers for anyone that's interested. We have a Grow It Forward campaign going on for sustainability, and we have a match donor until July 31st. So any and all would be appreciated. So if you're interested in a flyer, I'll be happy to give you one. And finally, we're putting out a save the date for September 19th at Nashville Social Club for the Grateful Harvest Dinner, which will now bring music back to the event and allow for that. And so we're really, really looking forward to that and advancing a variety of different sponsor levels to make that all work for the Greenhouse Project. So since the Greenhouse Project started through the Cultural Commission, that, for those that don't know, that's why I bring this report to the table. Thank you.
What does Go It Forward mean?
Grow It Forward means growing the Greenhouse Project beyond my life and time. That's what it means.
Okay, well, I think we would all appreciate flyers, and maybe people in the audience would too. Thanks so much. Anyone else have any announcements that they want to make? I'm going to bring up a thought for future agenda item. Had conversations, several, with the mayor, and I know that she has also chatted with city folks. And this is about on the trails, bear bins in the cemetery to replace the awful oil drum trash cans, but have the Cultural Commission sort of say, let's have an art contest in the schools, in wherever, for folks to bring designs for how they could be beautified as folks are out there, and we can talk about it in future agenda. You like that? Okay. So now the last item is we have to decide on when are we going to meet again for the art policy. We've got to get that done, folks. ASAP, sooner to me rather than later. August, I'm dead in the water. That is a terrible thing to say. Dead in the water.
July, let's see. I don't know if the 25th or 26th would work.
That's a Monday?
Monday, 25th.
God, I don't know. Are you back?
Yeah.
Works for you?
And I'm hoping it shows right now that there's no meeting on that day. So would you want to do it earlier? Is it 5:30 or is it hard to get here
Me, the early,
at 5?
well, I don't know for the folks who, 5:30 works
5:30?
for everybody?
5:30, I can
good?
make that.
Okay.
Sierra could make that work.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, the earlier the better, because, this is late.
All right, we'll try for July 25th.
July 25th,
at
CCCC
5:30.
art policy.
And I'll confirm that tomorrow, and I can send everybody an
Okay.
email.
Thank you all. The last item, number 8, says the public is invited at this time to comment and discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of the Cultural Commission. No action may be taken on a matter raised under the public comment unless the item is specifically included on the agenda. This is typical, legalese that we have to do. Anybody want to make any comments or anything you want to add? Yep. Yeah, because it's got to go on, and turn your mic on. It has to go on the record.
I would just like to take it, Travis Legatsky with the Downtown Vintage Market and the Birdhouse Group. I would just like to thank everybody for hearing us out and participating with us in this vision to do that. And that just means a lot. So thank you so much. Please come to the market and make it your own. We'd love to have you. All right.
Thank you very much. Okay, on that nice comment, this meeting is adjourned.